some advice his mother had given him years before. "Try running away from trouble instead of right to it. Just once, Emmanuel," she'd said after discovering the stolen cigarettes hidden under his bed in their shack in Sophiatown. He was 12 years old and already possessed the terrible knowledge that he would never grow into the good, kind man she dreamed he would become. The telephone rang on the bedside table, and Emmanuel quickly crossed the room. He lifted the receiver to his ear. "Yeah," he said quietly, to avoid waking Lana. "You're up." Colonel Van Niekerk's voice was clear on the line. "Problem sleeping, Cooper?" "I sleep very well, thank you, Colonel," Emmanuel said. He had no intention of letting the Afrikaner policeman into his head. The less Van Niekerk knew about his mental health, the better. Lana rolled onto her back, and the bed springs sighed. "You have company," the colonel said. Emmanuel ignored the statement and pressed a finger softly against Lana's mouth. "What can I do for you, sir?" he asked. There was a pause on the other end, short enough to suggest a gathering of thoughts, but long enough for Emmanuel to imagine that the colonel knew just how he'd spent the night and with whom. "Pack a bag," Van Niekerk said. "Enough for a few days. I have a case for you. A murder." Emmanuel lifted his hand from Lana's mouth and wrote the details of the job in his notebook. A homicide in Roselet, a farming hamlet nestled in the foothills of the Drakensberg Mountains, and 4 hours out of Durban. Whoever had called in had left no details of the victim. "I'll leave early in the morning, Colonel," he said, and hung up. Dirt roads with potholes deep enough to bathe a child in, and wandering goats and cows made the journey to the Berg dangerous in the dark. He'd wait for first light to set off. He checked the bedside clock. 3:45 a.m. on Sunday morning. The colonel knew he couldn't leave for hours, so why had he called in the middle of the night? Van Niekerk didn't do anything without a reason. What was the reason this time? "Emmanuel," Lana stretched out against the crumpled sheets, with her arms thrown above her head. "Do you have to leave right away?" No. He leaned over and pinned her wrists against the mattress, felt the heat of her skin and the lazy drumming of her heart. "Not right away." One. A Zulu herd boy walked quickly up the dirt path, his bony frame bent to meet the steep rise of the mountain. The rhythmic pounding of his bare feet on the rough ground kicked stones loose and raised red dust into the air. "Hiya, Mabas." The boy was apologetic, afraid of taxing the white policeman in the neat blue suit and the black hat pulled low on his head to block out the light. "We must go higher." "I'm right behind you," Emmanuel said. "Keep going." The steady pace was nothing compared to army boot camp or the 3 years spent in combat, marching between battlefields in Europe during the war. Detective Constable Samuel Shabalala from the Native Detective Branch followed directly behind him, and the rhythm of his breath spurred Emmanuel to keep moving. "Soon, Mabas," the boy promised. "Soon." "I'm still with you," Emmanuel said. The dead were patient. To them, eternity was flexible and time meant nothing. For police detectives, however, time was everything. The sooner the crime scene was located, and a crime scene sketch made with every detail included, the better chance there was of catching the killer. The herd boy stopped abruptly, and then slipped into the lush grass along the edge of the path. "There, Mabas." He pointed a skinny finger to the rise. The path snaked behind a sandstone boulder embedded in the grass. "You must go past the rock and up again." The boy clearly wanted no part of what lay beyond. "My thanks," Emmanuel said, and turned to look behind him. He saw the path they had travelled from the floor of the Kamberg Valley, and the mountains rising in the distance on the other side. Clouds piled on top of each other behind the peaks. The bronze tops of the mountains, some of them dusted with snow, looked like fortresses.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.